So Miranda asks, is the forgivable amount of the PPP that a business is granted taxable? So it's important to note that this is being recorded on September 3rd, 2020. So if you're watching this way in advance or way out in the future later, this might have changed because right now we are waiting for Congress to pass some sort of next bill of some sort that may change this rule. But as it stands now, okay, the forgiven PPP will not be taxable. It's not taxable income. It specifically is excluded from taxable income. But there's a huge but here. The IRS came back and ruled specifically that although the SBA said that this is not taxable income, and that's fine, the IRS came back and said, however, the expenses you spend the PPP funds on will not be deductible. So when all is said and done, having a non-deductible expense has the same effect on your taxes as having taxable income. So let's put this into numbers. So if you got $10,000 of forgiven PPP funds, they're saying that's not taxable income to your business. Okay, we're gonna consider that non-taxable. All right, because normally, let me back it up one more step. So normally, even if you get any sort of grant money, free money, unless there's some sort of specific exclusion, it's considered income to your business. So let's say so if there's any other grants you've gotten throughout this time, you guys, note that those grants are going to be taxable income to your business unless otherwise specifically stated, okay? So let's say you get some other outside grant for $10,000. That $10,000 is going to be income to your business. It's going to increase your revenue or your taxable income, not really your revenue, but your gross income by $10,000. And then whatever you spend that money on is going to be able to be deducted, okay? But what they're saying with the PPP money as of right now is that when it's forgiven, it won't hit your P&L as income, but then you also have to take those expenses you spent it on off of your deductions. So again, in the end, it has the same effect. So a lot of people have been up in arms. They're like, well, why would, this isn't free money, I'm paying for it. But again, let's stick some numbers on this. So let's say you got a $50,000, let's say you get forgiven $50,000 in PPP money. So that's $50,000 of funds that you received you didn't earn it, you just got it because of this PPP ruling, okay? And then you spend it the way you're supposed to spend it because you have to, and so it's going to, and because you then have to take those deductions off, it is going to increase your taxable income by $10,000 or by $50,000. All right, and then let's say you're in the 20% tax bracket, because that's easy math for me. There's no 20% tax bracket, but let's just go with it. Okay, so then let's say when all said and done, you're paying $10,000 of tax on that $50,000. So you still net out 40 grand. All right, 40 grand of money that you got to spend. It is very important that if you have PPP money that you have received that you plan on getting forgiven, that you sit with a tax planner or a tax advisor to figure out how much you need to set aside. Or if you don't have a tax advisor and that's not anything that's up your alley, make sure you're including it when you're figuring out how much your next estimated tax payment is, or your last one of the year. If you are a sole prop or a single member LLC, I want you to listen up. If I've lost you, come back to me. If you pay yourself, instead of paying all those other business expenses, if you just pay yourself, there's no tax consequences to you, okay? Because the rule says you can't deduct what you spend the money on, right? But you're paying yourself, which is not a deduction. We just talked about that, right? In the first question, paying yourself is not a business deduction. So if it's not a business deduction, you don't have to worry about not counting it, okay? This is huge, 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 huge. Okay, so if you are a sole prop, single member LLC, and you got the right loan amount, right, 2.5 months worth of your 2019 net pay, Schedule C line 31. Okay, if you got the right loan amount, then and you take the 24-week period, you can pay the entire amount to yourself as pay and not have that lost deduction tax change that the rest of us are going to have, who spend it on payroll and who spend it on rent and all the other things, okay? So important. Sole props, single member LLCs. Pay yourself the full amount if you got the right loan amount. Just to circle back around, single member LLC or sole prop, regardless whether you're, so you pay yourself as much of your PPP money as possible. So let's say you got too much, okay, and you're a sole prop and you're a single member LLC, one or the other. Okay, if you got too much loan, okay, then you are going to have to spend the rest of that money elsewhere or take it as a loan, right? So just keep in mind, you guys, that money spent on payroll, okay, even if it's to yourself as a shareholder in an S corp or as a guaranteed payment to yourself as a partner in a partnership, okay? So those payments, rent, mortgage interest, utilities, business interest, those are the proper ways to spend it and get forgiven. But if any amounts spent of your PPP loan that are spent on those items are not going to be deductible. Okay, not going to be deductible. And then I just want to say that there are parts of the bills that are in Congress right now that are trying to reverse this. But for now, that's where we're at.